name's TheJustReaper, and welcome back to the Minecraft Cold War tank tutorial. And today we are doing a heavily requested vehicle, the Swedish Kranvagn, which was actually a project which the Swedes were working on not long after the war. And I rather like the Kranvagn because it's rather reminiscent of, at least in my opinion, later Cold War vehicles. Oh, and what we're doing here is we're just going to be doing side-by-side spruce logs. So just copy what I'm doing. These are spruce logs. We're going to be using stone brick slabs. You'll catch on as we're going along. Just copy whatever you see me doing here. So anyway, what I like about the Kranvagn is that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like it because it somewhat resembles later Cold War vehicles. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's got a rather, shouldn't be doing that one. It's got a weird, modern-ish chassis. The chassis just reminds me of later MBTs. It's not very interesting in its shape. It's rather blocky, should I say? Maybe brick-shaped. Why do I keep going through layer 2 here? Gotta stop that. If you look at things like an Abrams or a Challenger 2 or a Leclerc, any of them, we just have that interesting block-ish look that makes them rather plain but rather intriguing to look at as well. I think you may be catching on to what I'm trying to say here. The overall silhouette of the chassis just reminds me of later Cold War designs. And when you look at the Kranvagn, I at least see that. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I see when I look at the thing. Another thing that I like with the Kranvagn is that its name, Kranvagn, it translates roughly to mobile crane. Now, what the whole purpose behind that was, it was a code name. Now, before I carry on here, take your dark oak wood top slabs, and we're just going to do one in the center and then a row of 3 behind it, right there. And then we're going to jump all the way to the back. We're just going to do 3 more top slabs here, just so you know what we're doing. We're going to fill the rest in with top slabs with stone slab. Anyway, the name Kranvagn was just a code name. But what I find interesting about it, though it's a rather, shall we say, goofy translation in name, like, it's a rather goofy name when you translate it, I really don't think so. I think the Swedes were smart when they were doing that. And it reminds me a little bit, it kind of gives me a nostalgic feeling of what the British were doing when they made the first land ships. And I'll explain that in a second. But we're going to take our wooden trapdoors. We're just going to put trapdoors there. And with that, we're actually done layer 1. So now that we're done with layer 1, we're just going to move right on to layer 2. So moving on to layer 2, we're just going to take some green terracotta. And I'm just going to continue talking while we're doing this. Anyway, like I was saying, it gives me a nostalgic feeling when they gave the name Kranvagn, because when you think about it, the Brits did exactly the same thing when making the land ship. Now, the term tank was just the code name. It wasn't supposed to be the name that was going to end up sticking. It was just an armored fighting vehicle, as far as they were concerned. It didn't have a, name that would stick with it, and, tank just happened to stick because it was just a code name because it looked like a water tank. So, mind you, these are dark oak stairs in the back, so just, you see what I'm doing, so I shouldn't have to explain too much as long as you're paying attention. So, might as well just keep it more interesting and just talk while doing the tutorial. Anyway, so the Kranvagn just is one of those tanks that, despite being rather young, shall we say, gives me that feeling of nostalgia because of the term, because of the, the purpose of using a name like that. We're using upside down stone brick stairs here. And as far as I remember, this is how I set it up. Actually, no, there's no outer layers, so scratch that. Take these outer stairs out. Anyway, after doing the tracks on this side, we're just going to finish off here at the front, and I'm just going to continue speaking. But another thing about the Kranvagn is that, as good as the design it would have ended up being, and they did make two chassis for it, the Kranvagn was not a bad idea. The problem was, the Swedes were preparing for a war that really was never going to come. And I say that because when the Swedes were, I'm reluctant to say fearful of the Soviets. And if I have any viewers from Sweden, I'm trying my best to not say anything that would, you know, tick you guys off, but in a way the Swedes were a little bit fearful of the Soviets, just a little bit. So the Swedes were trying to prepare for a war with the Soviets that they thought was going to come, you know, for whatever reason, that they thought war with the Soviets was coming. So the Kranvagn was one of the projects that was coming out, because things like the Stridsvagn 74, which was one of the, you know, more recent predecessors to the Kranvagn idea, just wasn't going to hold up against things like an IS-3 or, you know, any of the newer vehicles the Soviets were coming out with. Stopping for a second here. There is going to be an interior for this. If you can already see it when peeking in over there, there will be an interior, but just fill up the whole inside anyway. And we're going to come back to that later. So right now we're actually done with layer 2. So now that we're done with layer 2, let's move on to layer 3. Anyway, moving on to layer 3, we're just going to take some green carpet, and we're going to take our trapdoors, our flower pots, and our daylight sensors. And we're just going to head over here and get back to work. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. So the Swedes were trying to make vehicles to fight the Soviets. And the Kranvagn could have done that, but the Kranvagn was a little bit too extreme to put into full production for everything that it required. Had a little bit of an interruption there. Anyway, carrying on, we're just going to continue with the building. But, where did I leave off? Yes. So, anyway, the Kranvagn, I sort of misphrased what I was saying prior. It's not that it was too much for the Swedish to build, because if any of us know anything about the Swedish, is that the Swedish literally do whatever they want, and they can do whatever they want, and sometimes the most amazing things come out of Sweden. But the Swedes didn't need the Kranvagn. They had plenty of other ideas in mind that they used parts of the Kranvagn for. For example, the suspension system, I think it was the suspension part. Either it was that, or it was the road wheel design, something like that. It's been a while since I did my research on the Kranvagn. Something related to the wheels or the suspension was taken from the Kranvagn and was put into the Stridsvagn 103. As we built right over there. Just making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing here. Sort of losing my place here. Grab some nether brick slabs. 2 slabs here, 2 slabs here. I'm gonna take our wooden trapdoors and fill these places in. Alright. So eventually the Kranvagn idea was scrapped, and the Swedes rather turned their attention to the production of things like the Stridsvagn 103 and, you know, whatever else was meant to come later on down the road. I think there's 9 of these, right? Yes. Okay, but I have to turn them all blue. So just turn all of these blue. And then I need some spruce wood planks, and I need spruce wood stairs. Stairs there, planks there, stairs there. We're going to take a button, we're going to put a button on the back of the logs here. And I think that may actually be it for layer 3. Just gotta be sure. Yeah, okay. So, that is layer 3. So with layer 3 done, let's move on to layer... Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, that's empty. So with layer 3 done, let's move on to layer 4. Now, let's, we're just gonna start by starting at the rear here, and we'll work our way up. Now, is it a little bit disappointing that the Kranvagn never got produced? To some, maybe. To others, not so much. I think it would have been interesting to see where, you know, the tank evolution in Sweden would have went had the Kranvagn been put into mass production. I think things like the Stridsvagn 122, or better known as the Leopard, which is their current main battle tank. They just use a Leopard 2 variant, like most countries do, anyway. I think things like that would never have actually, you know, would never have actually needed to have been imported to Sweden, because Sweden would have just simply looked out for itself. I think if Sweden had more successful, you know, if its tanks were more successful in the past, if they had better luck building their vehicles and just more of them turning out the way they should have, I think the Swedes would have been more self-sufficient when it came to armored fighting vehicles. Not to say they haven't made some pretty nice stuff over the past few decades, but I just think they would be more self-sufficient today had they just done everything themselves. But hey, every nation can only do so much, and I am personally happy that, you know, Sweden tried as hard as they did to make as good of a tank as the Kranvagn, because the core purpose of the Kranvagn was simply to fight the Soviets. That was its point, that was its purpose. That's why the idea was ever conceived, was to fight the Soviets. It never needed to, Sweden never needed to fight the Soviets, and, you know, hopefully no wars need to be fought with Sweden or anyone today. Hopefully, you know, they can just sort of be put to rest, but I am a little bit disappointed in certain ways that the Kranvagn never got produced. So, now that we're done with layer 4, let's move on to layer 5. Oh, actually I missed one block of layer 4. Just one part of the muzzle break here. So let's move on to layer 5 now. So I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think about the Kranvagn? Do you think it would have impacted Sweden's tank production in modern day? Do you think it would have affected it much? Do you think it would have influenced it more? Maybe even influenced the rest of the world to new building techniques, you know, new techniques of manufacturing new, shall we say, main battle tanks? Or do you think it would have just fell flat on its face? Like, it would have just been there, but no one really learns much from it? Because, let's be honest, the Swedish engineers have always been great engineers. They've been, in my opinion, they've been second only to the Germans. Okay? The Germans have been in recent time, the best engineers in the world. Now, that's my opinion. I don't know how you guys stand on that, but in my opinion, Germany is the best. And I think Sweden's right behind it. America is alright. Russia, you don't hear anything about their engineering, but I'm not talking only in armor. I'm talking like in a broad sense. you know, civilian automobiles and stuff like that. Oh, and I think we're actually, oh no, I just missed a couple of blocks here. Hold on. I'll just run over here and snatch it. We're gonna place nether brick blocks like that. Make sure that the blocks, like, make sure that the stairs are facing like this, where it's just like a little bit in the corner. And if you want to be sure that you have that, make sure that these stairs at the ends are curved inwards with the vehicles, that these curve as well. Just as a little bit that you want to, you know, pay attention that you're doing. Anyway, with we're done with layer 5 now. So now we're done with layer 5, let's move on to the final layers of layer 6 and 7. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm talking in a broad sense, though. You know, I don't mean strictly armored vehicles. I think, you know, both the Swedes and the Germans are great at making civilian vehicles. They're great at making cars, just generally. Especially, like, the sports cars and hypercars, supercars. You have, like, the big names like Porsche from Germany, or Koenigsegg from Sweden. So I just see Sweden just being right behind Germany. I'm getting a little bit off topic here. The whole topic's about the Kranvagn. Do you think if the Kranvagn got produced, that it would have impacted the rest of the world very much? Or that it would have impacted Swedish engineering anymore for future tank production? Even though it did impact a little bit upon the production of the Stridsvagn 103, it itself fell on its face. Anyway, I'm going to stop right here for now. I'm just going to say, if you want to stick around for the interior, feel free to stay, because we're about to begin. If not, I will see you next time, and I hope you've enjoyed the build, though it's been a lot of talking, although I'm trying to make it more interesting, try to make the videos a little bit more interesting. But, you know, let me know if you prefer me just rambling, place this block here, place this block here, or we're gonna grab this block and place it right over here. Or would you rather prefer me actually talking and engaging with the vehicles a little bit more, and engaging with you guys, because I want to inform you a little bit on these vehicles for what you don't know, and what I do know. So, but anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to begin with the interior. For those of you that aren't staying, goodbye, and I'll see you next time. For those of you that are staying, let's begin. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute because I would like to pay attention to what I am actually doing. Alright, so we're going to break in. These have to be top slabs and stairs. I should probably start with the top of the fighting compartment, though, shouldn't I? Alright, so, break in. We're going to just break on in here. We'll replace this all after. Stair there, top slab here, top slab here. We're going to break down a little bit more. Is there anything back here that needs to be broken? Yes. Doesn't appear like it goes very far back, though. So, oh, okay. So I can already see it right here. Alright, so I have to break 2 blocks back for the ammo rack, ammo stowage. So we're just going to place some chests in there. And there you have your ammo stowage. Just going to replace that at the top. We can break down a little more block, I think. Yes, and then we have to break down even farther. Get rid of this. Okay, so that's there. That's there. Okay. I see how this works. Okay. It's been a while since I interacted with this thing, actually. I built this a long time ago, just never got around to doing the tutorial. So, what we're going to do is we're going to head over into here. We're going to break down until we see the floor. We're going to place some... We're going to make blocks out of the stone slabs. I'll break forward a little bit. I actually don't remember... Do we break that block out? Back in. From the level of the chest forward. Gonna break that. Okay. chest right forward. Boom. Got it. We're going to put upside down dark oak stairs here. I think we're actually putting a dispenser here for the gun breech. We're going to take chests and we're gonna put chests down here, but we're not going to do that just yet. But we're gonna keep that one in mind. We're gonna put a stone slab right here. Let me head back over. I'm gonna break down so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So, switches. For some reason they're facing that direction. I don't know why I did it like that. Alright, so we're gonna grab switches. We're going to grab a observer. We're going to need, I'm gonna need upside down. I'm gonna need dark oak stairs. I'm going to need spruce stair. So we're just going to get the driver compartment out of the way real quick. So we're gonna break in. Alright, so the observer goes right there. Wrong way. Bust open the front of the hull, put that there, replace that, boom. Okay, so we have that. Head back on in. We're going to do upside... No. Top slabs, maybe. Top slabs? Oh, I see. Okay, so we leave the center space open. Upside down stair here and here. Switch here and here. I should actually break that so I can get in here. I'm going to place a spruce stair right there. And we're going to put an upside down dark oak stair right there. Grab some chests, put standard chests there, but because you can't put them all next to each other, we gotta use trap chests, do that, and then do normal chests, and that will make your ammo rack. We're going to put slabs there, seat there, seat there. Why are you here? Oh, I didn't even do... Okay. I just screwed up. I need dark oak slabs on stairs right here in the center. This space needs to be open. I'm going the wrong way. Back in, need moss stone wall, another brick stair, and a button. There's nothing over on that side. So head back into the other Kranvagn. We're going to put a mossy cobble wall right here, another brick stair right here, with the back facing towards the left of the vehicle. We're going to put a button right on that side, and then we can replace everything that we broke over here. Need daylight sensor, put the daylight sensor here. And one in. One here, come on. There we go. Now I'm just going to go fix up the other Kranvagn real quick before I end this video, but that is the interior for the vehicle. So I hope you've all enjoyed the tutorial. And you know what? I don't even think there was one on that side. It's only on this side. I hate myself. Alright, hold on. We're not done yet. Stop. Time out. Time out. Alright. Back to the one we were building. Go in this side. Break these. These ones don't belong here. Don't touch. Fix that. Fix that. Fix that. And now we're done. So, I hope you've all enjoyed the tutorial for the Kranvagn. I hope you've learned a little bit of something about the Kranvagn from my endless rambling. But I hope you've learned a little bit about the Kranvagn. And I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you all make good use of this. And despite my very slow rate at which I put up videos, there are videos in the future, and I'm not done with YouTube. Just because I go silent does not mean I'm done. If I'm done YouTube, you'd see I would put a video up saying I'm done. So I hope you don't lose faith in me despite my very slow rate at which I put videos out. But I also hope that you enjoy the content. If there's anything you think I can improve upon, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments. Though I'm always trying to improve upon whatever I think I can. And yeah, so really I don't have much more to say about that, but I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you all next time. God bless, and goodbye.